Welcome back to another episode of Life After the Show. Now, as always, we're talking about the Yankees, right? And unless you've been living underneath a rock, then you didn't know that the Yankees were having a really slow offseason. So basically, the entire time that this offseason has been going on, I'm seeing blame pointed in about three people's directions. The first one being Hal Steinbrenner, the second one being Brian Cashman, and the third one, Scott Boras. Now, we've talked about Hal and Brian Cashman on this show a lot, but we really haven't scratched the surface on Scott Boras. So, if you don't know who Scott Boras is, he is one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful Major League Baseball agent in the game. And let me just rephrase that. He is 100% the most powerful one. The guy gets massive deals done. The guy's not afraid to drag the market out. The guy actually creates the market for the players. So he's basically changed the game in the way that the players get paid, the amount of money that they get, and a lot of other things that I'll get to as the show goes on. But most recently, we've seen that the New York Yankees offered Cody Bellinger a deal. Now, apparently, it's about 5 years for $150 million, and Scott Boras is trying to get 7 for Cody Bellinger, and that's making a lot of fans really upset, right? They're thinking, wow, that's a really good deal. That's a lot of money. But fans think he's overpaid a little bit, that their Yankees have offered a sweet deal, but Cody's kind of being a little egregious. And look, let me break it down this way, okay? Alex Bregman just signed a 5-year, $175 million deal with the Cubs. Alex Bregman is older than Cody Bellinger. Alex Bregman is about to be 32. Cody Bellinger is going to be 31. So there's a difference in the age right there. Who had a better year last year between those two? The younger player, Cody Bellinger, okay? They were almost the same in some areas, but Cody ultimately had a better season. And so when you're younger, you're probably going to get more years, right? I think if anyone out there that's watching the offseason unfold should be upset with anyone, you should be upset with the Chicago Cubs, not really Scott Boras, because the Cubs are the ones that gave Alex Bregman, a 32-year-old player, a 5-year deal. Now, don't be upset with the younger player for thinking that, hey, if this guy that's a little bit older than me gets that many years, why can't I get a few more on top of it? You know, I think that when you think about it like that, there probably is some teams out there, front offices, owners, there probably are some teams that are actually upset with the way that the Chicago Cubs just gave Alex Bregman a deal. Now, when you go even further, Scott Boras represents Alex Bregman and Cody Bellinger. So you're seeing it unfold. You're seeing that Scott was able to get 5 years. And what would that put Alex Bregman at the end of his contract? 37. Okay. Cody Bellinger would be around the same age too if he got the 7-year deal that he's seeking. So you have to think that Scott is thinking that he can squeeze all the ketchup out the bottle with these agents, or not these agents, these front offices and these owners, right? There's a lot of reasons to believe that Scott Boras and MLB just have this ongoing feud of some heavyweights just going back and forth. Because when I was playing, okay, let's go even further, right? When I was playing, the MLBPA has reps for each team, right? So each team has one player that represents the team and kind of is on behalf of the Major League Players Association. So if anything happens, they're the guy that the MLBPA is using to relay the message to the rest of the team. Now, there was a subcommittee. So the subcommittee was each team had a representation, but then the subcommittee, I think, was 8 players, maybe six to 8 players. And I think about 6 of those 8 players were all Scott Boras represented. Now, when you think about it, when the MLBPA is going back and forth with MLB, and then the top players are all represented by Scott Boras, and those are the ones that are basically standing in the front line for the rest of the players, and they're sitting in on the meetings, and they're hearing the way that all of this stuff goes down whenever we're in the lockout, and they're all represented by Scott Boras, right? So you have to believe that MLB thinks, damn, we are really at war with one person, and that is Scott Boras. So they have a Scott problem, okay? They don't want to deal with this guy. He's really good. Players use him to go out and get them the biggest deals. Now, sometimes it comes back to bite him. You would assume that some of these teams don't want to deal with him necessarily because he's not afraid to drag the process out. He's not afraid to really entrench himself in what he wants and ultimately get it. You know, he finds ways to to leverage the biggest deals, the most years, the most amount of money. I mean, he does it every offseason. And if you're looking at the players that he has that are coming up here in the future, it's only going to get even longer because he's got a long list of really good players that are going to be free agents here pretty soon. And so if the Yankees are going after these guys, then you could assume that what's happening with Cody Bellinger is going to happen with a lot of these younger guys that will be hitting the free agent market here pretty soon. Now, Scott knows what he's doing. I think that if fans want to be upset with anyone in this situation, I might be biased, but as a former player, you have to believe that Scott's just doing what's best for the players and maybe a little bit what's best for him because what the players get, he gets. And so there is a percentage that he takes from these deals and so you know that obviously he's going to reap the benefits of some of these deals that get done, but Major League Baseball behind the scenes is nasty, guys. They do a lot of things that make players feel like they just aren't players. You know, it's all about the numbers and what you can do for them, and then they just throw you to the side. And so players are going to be selfish whenever it comes to these deals. So I wouldn't necessarily, as a fan, be upset with Scott Boras. I think that you should be more upset with the owners in the front office people because they're the ones that ultimately allowed Scott to get these deals done. You know, obviously they have the ability to say no, but if they want the players and then Scott can leverage it to where another team's willing to do this, like what it really comes down to is these teams have accepted that Scott represents these players and that Scott is going to be able to make them morph really into whatever he wants them to be. So when you look at the deals that he's gotten done in the past, don't be upset with Scott. He got somebody out there to agree to give a person $765 million. Don't be upset with Scott. Be upset with the people that accepted the deal. So when I'm looking at it and I'm seeing that, you know, people are really upset with the way that this offseason is going, and they're just saying that they don't want to deal with players that are represented by Scott in the future. And it's just like, I get it. I get it. You don't want your offseason to be drug out, but what you're seeing right now is like a masterclass performance from somebody, right? Like the owners and the GMs are they're allowing one guy to literally reshape their entire offseason, and that is their problem. That is their problem because they knew going into this that the player that they wanted was going to be represented by him. So I know that the deal that Cody's offered is a big deal and that people are upset that he's not accepting it. But again, I mean, when you see that Alex Bregman is getting 5 years and he's 2 years older than Cody, I mean, come on. Like, let's think about it. If his season was better and whose season was better is Cody Bellinger, then like, yeah, you got to try to tack on those extra years because somebody's going to give it to him. That's what this is going to be. Somebody is going to give it to him. And, you know, we're up against the clock. Everybody right now knows that spring training is a month away. Pitchers and catchers are reporting really soon. And that's exciting to me. I want to see it happen. I want to get some baseball content out there for you guys. I don't want to just be the frontline guy that talks about the reportings from other people that are the mouthpieces for the other people. I mean, I want to be able to use my knowledge and my expertise to kind of break down the game for you guys. But also, I want you guys to realize that Scott Boras and MLB have been having this problem, okay? They have a Scott Boras problem because they know that he's kind of the glitch in the matrix, right? He's kind of the guy that stands in the way of them being able to really just go out and do whatever they want to do. It's their fault. It is not Scott's. That guy has done what the players wanted him to do, and that is to get them paid. So let's talk about it, right? Like I'm looking at it, right? I'm looking at some stuff and I'm seeing the Cody Bellinger thing shake out, and I'm trying to not be biased, and I mean I'm excited for the guy to be able to get that much money, you know, I really am. But when you think about it, like all I can think about right now is my mind goes in the worst possible scenario, and I think it's going in that direction because you're just not really seeing a lot of stuff that makes you believe that the Yankees will get this done. And then you see that they're actually trying and they're offering a lot of money and whatnot. And so I do think that what we're seeing right now, whenever all this stuff with Cody Bellinger goes out, it's one side. It's either the Yankees or it's Cody and his camp. But they're trying to use the public as a way to negotiate. They're trying to put the public on their side and make them go after the other side that's making it seem like what that side wants is unfair. And that's, hey, that's just the way that's the name of the game now, right? Like a lot of people negotiate through the public, and you see, I mean, social media is a bunch of people that don't know each other that band together and they march in the same direction to really go after what they believe is right. And what you're seeing is that a lot of turbulence is happening from from all this contract stuff being put out there because people are saying that Cody's being overpaid. And I get it. I mean, I said it the other day. If Cody gets the amount of money per year that we think that he might get or that he wants to get, I mean, that automatically puts him top five, top six highest paid players in the game. And again, I look at it like I don't think that there should be really any players anywhere close to the amount of money per year that Aaron Judge is making. He is leagues above everybody in terms of offensive potential and what he's done every year. So to see that Cody might be getting in that range of the same amount of money per year as Aaron Judge, it's questionable, but it's also like, wow, good for him. He somehow was able to potentially finesse it to where he could get the same amount of money as Aaron Judge while putting up significantly less numbers than Aaron did himself. So I'm I'm very fascinated with this situation because all along that was kind of one of my first talking points that I said in the offseason, but I used that one around Kyle Tucker because when I saw that Kyle Tucker was wanting 40 to 40 something million dollars and potentially going to be getting a $400 million deal, I was slightly perplexed, right? I was like, why is this guy going to get more money than Aaron Judge? How are we in that world? And so to see that maybe Cody and Kyle are almost like side by side in the yearly salary that they might both get, like I don't know what the Yankees will do. We're seeing that they're supposedly engaging with other players, and obviously, whenever I said earlier that my mind goes in the worst possible scenario, it's what are they going to do if they don't get Cody Bellinger? Like, how long are they going to be willing to play the game that Scott is playing? Because he's got them in a corner. He got the Cubs to give Alex Bregman 5 years. He wants 7 for Cody. As the clock continues to tick, he knows that these teams will be in scenarios to where they either get desperate or they just move on, right? I think that Scott knows that the Yankees don't want to deploy Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones as their everyday players in the outfield. And so he knows that they want Cody. And so if he knows that they want him, like I said, he's going to squeeze all that ketchup out the bottle. He's got the Yankees right where he wants them. You almost feel like Scott Boras is puppeteering the front office of these teams right now. Like he's the guy that is actually like making these people age and lose their hair and their hair's falling out. And it's just like that might be why Cashman's got none left, is because he's had to deal with Scott Boras for a long time. I mean, Scott had A-Rod. I think Scott had Robinson Cano, and then Cano went over to Jay-Z's group, but he's got Garrett Cole. I mean, it's like he's got all these deals that have really taken a long time to get the players inked on the deal. So you gotta give Scott that round of applause and really just say, wow, this is really good work. Hate him or love him, that guy that guy has changed the offseason free agent market. I mean, people hate to see him coming. So I'm very fascinated again just to see how this is going to play out because Cody's reaching for the stars. But he's got the right guy to hoist him into the air to be able to get that star. Because Cody's a really good player. Cody's a fascinating one to me because when he broke into the scene, he was so good. And then he struggled for a little while. And then you saw him take that 1-year deal to go to the Cubs and kind of try to bounce back. And then he did bounce back. And now he's in a situation to where it's like, hey, he could maybe get $200 million. So you don't see it all the time that a player goes from being the best player to really struggling to going back to the best player and like recapturing his career for the better. So I mean, look, hey, like that is not easy to do. Cody's in a situation where he can do whatever he wants. You need to be blaming these teams for allowing the players to get the deals that they've gotten. I think that's why when the CBA rolls back around is that they're going to try to change some of this stuff, is because Scott changed the game. They have to nerf that glitch in the matrix that's Scott Boras. They're gonna nerf him. They're gonna do whatever they can to try to bring him down some. And I think that's why we're seeing that a lot of these players are trying to get some deals that might be a little bit more than what they're worth, but they think that they can get it done, and they've got the right guy leading the charge to get it done for them. So I'm not going to be upset with the guy. I just want you guys to know that Scott Boras he's not bad for the game. Now, maybe you could look at it like some of the tactics that he does are slightly bad for the game because he does drag it out, and that's why MLB is saying like, hey, we want to do a free agent deadline and get it done. But it's like, hey, he's there to get the players paid, and if the players are okay with dragging it out, then he's not bad for the game. The players want what Scott's trying to get them, and he knows that the longer that it goes, he's kind of at a leverage point with some of these teams. Not every team, but some of these teams. The longer he can drag it out, the more that you guys get upset. The more upset that you get, the more questions that the front office and the manager and everyone else that's with the Yankees are having to answer. And then the more questions that they answer puts urgency and panic potentially, or it makes them really annoyed and they're just like, screw it. We're going to give the keys to Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones and see how that goes. But again, I think Scott knows that he's got the Yankees right where he wants them. I think that we will see a deal get done. I don't know necessarily if it's going to be for 7 years, but I think that he's going to be able to get as much out of them as he can get. And if he's comfortable with what he's offered here pretty soon, then him and Cody will accept it and they'll go from there. And hey, we're going to see something get done. But as we continue to go in the offseason, I'm following Scott and Cody and all these other people that he represents because they're all the best players for the years to come. And I'm hoping that we get something done here pretty soon. And we're going to see if the Yankees will bend or break and go in that direction. So, as always, look, hey, thanks for watching. And I'm going to be back as much as I can and trying to put some good stuff out there for you guys because the Yankees aren't giving me a whole lot to talk about. So bear with me as this process continues to go. And we're just going to hope for the best and then react to the worst. So thanks for watching.